Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, excellent. Tyler, about that question last week about the GitHub sponsors, um, was there any feedback about that?
Yeah, Bryce can.
All right,
Bryce.
brilliant.
As far as I'm aware, no one knows much about it, and you're probably more informed than we are, is what we found out.
So we can go forward with it?
Um,
It's okay to move forward? You guys can see my screen, right?
yeah.
Right, fine.
So we probably should bring in, so Blake is our financial guy. We should probably bring him into the conversation. He would know more than I do about what's possible.
Sorry, who was that?
Blake Folsom.
Okay. Blake Folsom, was it? How do you spell that?
I think it's Folsom.
Folsom, yeah?
Yeah, that looks right.
So we'll wait for feedback from him first, yeah?
Yeah, I asked him, and he says he's never done it before, but he would be the person to talk to.
Okay. And will that be something that we should do, or we'll wait for you to connect us to him or something?
Yeah, I can hopefully get you in touch if you want to reach out to me on the community Slack.
Okay. Yep. Okay, fine. Because we keep getting these pop-ups on all of our repos. Every time we scroll into it. So one way or another, we'd just like to just figure out what we're doing there. All right, great. Fine, thanks. Okay, going back to last week or the last 2 weeks, looking at what we've done. Where is it? Sorry, this is in my way. Right, so we were looking at transferring the net managers to GitLab, and we've been looking at, myself and Javier have been working on this, and we've got something to show you now. So if I just pull this open, I think I've actually got it open elsewhere. Just give me 1 second. Right, so this is our main repo at the moment, and you can do a straight transfer to GitLab anyway. That's within the GitLab settings where you can just transfer a repo. So I did that and moved it across and worked on a pipeline. So trying to do a straight conversion from the travis.yaml to gitlab.ci. It's not exactly the same. They don't have the same features exactly, but was managed to fiddle around with it and get 3 stages running in GitLab. So you've got the lint stage now where you've got black, commit lint, hado lint, which is for the Docker files, and YAML lint running. And then we've got our usual build. So if I just show you how, let's see the last, oops, that's what I wanted there.
So you're using Docker with GitLab, or are you using like Docker build, or is it more like a Kaneko?
Oh no, it's Docker inside Docker. DIND, Docker in Docker.
Okay, I was just curious how you guys were doing it.
Yeah, I'll show you what we've done. So this is our usual stuff in Travis, which is going through all the various platforms and bits and pieces, and gets 31 builds running there. And I'll show you the GitLab YAML in a second. Same thing here. It's the same the same platforms. And then we've also got semantic release enabled now for this, because I've never done semantic release in GitLab before, but it wasn't so bad. That was available as well. So just looking at the GitLab YAML, they like to use node anchors quite a bit for reducing duplication. I've been doing some of that in the SSF formula anyway. So you can just set up your sort of stages over here. So I've got my 3 stages up here, because sometimes you need to reuse them across various jobs. The various images we're using throughout. So the image for black. So just using little Docker containers that provide us those linters. Some of them are only 5 or 10 megabytes. Pull them in, run the lint, and that's it. So the image for Docker. So we're using Docker latest for the Docker in Docker stuff. Had a lint. We need Node for semantic release, and YAML lint. There's a little container there. Common script. Just using a common script here, which we need for the Node stuff. And then we got our 3 stages. So we lint, build, and release. And this is by default anyway, but I've explicitly mentioned it for there's various drivers you can use for Docker, but some are better than others for performance. And then it's quite straightforward. I mean, just using those YAML, the node anchors, you can see it's just simply you load up each job and you just run the script. So the YAML lint one, simple, black, header lint. I mean, it's fairly readable, I think. There's not much to explain there. Commit lint. And then going on to the build template. This is the thing that you have to do a bit differently in GitLab. You have to set up a template so that you can reuse that in each main job. So if I look at travis.yaml for 1 second, how we achieve that here. Let's see. Over here, you can simply set up the variables that we've got. So we've got various variables here for the builds, and you just run them in the jobs directly inside the matrix. So you set up the environment with your matrix, and that gets pushed through to the actual the stages below. So for example, in the install stage here, all those variables are used. In GitLab, they don't actually have a matrix. You have to set up like a template, put everything together there, and then send through the actual variables. So here's Docker in Docker we're using, which is one of the services, which is the service we're using to actually achieve this. And this is actually the script that you can more or less see here in travis.yaml. It's the same script virtually. A couple of differences were needed. So that's the template there, runs all the bits and pieces. And it's a bit uglier in the sense that you have to actually send these through as variables, but it's the same thing essentially. So that's just the name of the image there. And you have to link it back to the actual template that you're linking it to, that you're extending, and then you send through the variables. So it's not particularly pretty, it goes across a bit, but it does the same thing as what's happening in travis.yaml, pushing through those variables and running the jobs. And finally, semantic release at the bottom there. If it's the master branch, it does what we've been doing in our other repos. What's interesting about this is that it runs it super quick. All the jobs are run at the same time. There's no concurrency issues that I've seen so far. So we're looking at 31 builds at the same time, and most of them finish in 4 minutes. So we've got all of these images built and then pushed to Docker Hub. So when I ran it yesterday, for example, everything was pushed to Docker Hub at the same time. I mean, within 5 or 6 minutes, you know, everything was there. So it's super quick. You can run the cron job from GitLab as well. So you'll be able to run every week. So we've got that up and running. And the good news about this is we can extend this now and start moving some of our formulas, or at least have, say, a template formula in GitLab as well, because all the essential bits are there. So we've got the semantic release that we can reuse over here, and we've got the various linters that we use. Where are the linters? Up here again. We can bring in some of our lint jobs as well, and it's the same matrix as again. So you set up a build template, and we can have our jobs that we normally have in Travis for our formulas. Same thing, just line them up here, and we should hopefully be able to have some formulas. It'd be worth having a template formula in GitLab, right? Just asking some of the formulas guys.
Say that again.
I'm just asking the formulas guys. Should we have, so for example, in our organization here, what is it again? GitLab. Sorry, this isn't my main account. So if I go to SaltStack formulas, so in SaltStack formulas here, which is our new organization in GitLab, we've got an area here where we've set up, you know, one for documentation formulas. There'll be one for the pre-salted images as well. But under formulas, we've got nothing here. I was thinking we could at least start by having a template formula here, so that someone can build formulas, or they can have a formulas repo in GitLab instead using our template. So having 2 template formulas, one in GitHub, one in GitLab.
That sounds good to me. I'd name it something like formula template or something more obvious as a template. But
yeah, because I think it'd make it a bit easier. I've seen some people using formulas in GitLab and setting that up for what we're doing in Travis, for example, right now. It's not available. I've not actually seen many examples of Kitchen being used in GitLab. I went searching everywhere and I can't really find any. So it'd be very useful, I think, to have that all prepared in a template that people could actually just clone and use.
yeah, you'd have to do the Docker thing, but yeah.
So what was that about the Docker thing?
You'd probably have to do Docker and Docker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think we're going to have to Docker and Docker for that because, oh no, maybe we will. You're right. But once it's set,
Imran, I do use Kitchen and GitLab,
have you got it? Yeah, have you got an
but
example of that?
it's in a private repo, I'm afraid.
Okay. What do you use
But
for it?
it's not anything special. It's just really how we use it in GitHub. It's just without. It's not a formula. It's my own private repo, which, but it does run Kitchen.
Does it run it in a matrix?
It does, but it's, as you mentioned earlier, it's kind of a handwritten matrix. Yeah.
Oh no, this shouldn't be handwritten in the end. I'm pretty confident we can get this done from the SSF formula as well, because it's almost the same structure. It just looks different.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. It's just like you said, GitLab doesn't have a matrix, a built-in matrix facility, at least not at the moment. I know they're working on it. There's an open issue on that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, fundamentally it works in GitLab. It's just I've never done, I haven't done the whole setup as you've got it in Travis.
So, I mean, having that template formula would be helpful, right?
Yeah, it would. You can probably keep the two repos in sync as well.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I'm not sure how that's going to fare with the releases. We could do. How would that be done? Is there some automated way of doing that?
Well, there is a way of like. I haven't done it.
You can do both push mirroring and pull mirroring, but that means that the
that
commit will go into the one of the repos.
No, actually, it should be fine because they're using different CIs. So even if we've got the GitLab CI as in the two files, if they're both in the repo, then it wouldn't make a difference, would it? One would run in Travis when it's in GitHub, and one would run in GitLab.
Yeah, as long as you're putting your commits into the whatever's the upstream repo.
Okay, so one still has to be the main repo, yeah?
Yeah, and the other one mirrors it, and the CI runs on. Like you can have your source control in GitHub, have it mirrored on GitLab, and anytime GitLab detects a change, it'll run the CI just fine. It'll even update the commit status on GitHub.
Right. Okay, that can definitely be looked at then. So we can figure out a way of doing that. Okay, that's good. So that's something to definitely look forward to, look at in the next couple of weeks. Right. So that's that. Any questions on that before I move on, or I'm just gonna keep going? Okay, we had about 300 not 300, about 100 notifications coming through about the gem file lock, containing gems that needed to be updated. We spoke about it last week. One of the things I'm doing to alleviate that is after every weekly run on the master branch, because we run a bundle update in there, so we're always testing against the latest gems anyway. Once that's done, I've just put a little something together, a little script that then pushes out the latest gem file lock to all the repos. I mean, that's the best I can do at the moment, but any other ideas of what could be done to sort of proactively update gems rather than having these hundreds of notifications coming through all of our repos? Because I can't really, I mean, apart from turning off the notification warnings, the warning notifications, I can't see another way of doing this other than updating the gems once a week. Just leave it like that, just update them once a week and that's enough.
Yeah. Say that again. What's the problem?
So what's happened is if I go to GitHub for 1 second, I'll try to go to notifications. About 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week ago, I think I moved them all to done, didn't I? We got about hundreds of notifications at the same time about gems that had been, where are they? Gems that, one of the gems needed to be updated. So here, you see here now, you're going to see it. So is this active
like a
support
security
gem?
vulnerability that?
Yeah, but it's running across all 100 repos. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so we're getting hundreds and hundreds of notifications. And we did speak about it last week about how we could prevent this or do. one method definitely is obviously update the gems regularly, and hopefully we'll avoid it. But if one of these security warnings comes during the week, then we're still going to get hundreds of notifications. So what would be the right way to address that? Just turn off the
in GitLab, it's easy. You can import CI files from other repos. So you just have one central repo that all that kind of config goes in, and then you can use that as a template in all your other ones. You could attempt to mimic that behavior in GitHub, but it'd be harder. But in GitLab, it's much easier. You just do import whatever file, and then you can have all of your templates be in one repo. So if you want to update everything all at once, everything's in that one repo.
Yeah, the updating is not, yeah, that would be good to definitely look into. I'm talking about if there's going to be a warning in the middle of the week and we haven't got our gems updated across our repos, we're going to get these hundreds of notifications coming through. Is there a way of like, what's the right way to get rid of these notifications? Should we just turn them off, or should we, is there some other?
I don't have a good answer for that one.
Yeah.
Imran, what is it that sends these notifications? Is it GitHub itself, or is it a plugin or something?
I'll show you. Let me go to the settings. It's something we can switch off from the API. Just give me 1 second. Where was it again? Yeah,
I mean, I think, did you mention this, that we could have it switched off on one repository?
Yeah, we could just leave it on the template formula.
Is it under options, maybe?
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I don't normally go this way. So it's under options. Is it? Which options is that? All right, right at the top.
Maybe the top. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's here somewhere. There's a security area here somewhere. I've forgotten. I don't normally come through like this. In fact, I think I go through from the actual.
Is it the security tab at the top?
Yeah, it's probably that security tab. That's the one. Yeah, it's over here somewhere, and yeah, it's these alerts.
Well, my kind of suggestion is that we just keep it on one repository.
Right. So just go through and switch it off on everything else. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. I'll try to look into that. This should be easy via the API, and just send that through to all the repos. Okay. So we'll do that. But in the meantime, like I said, there's a weekly update anyway now for all the gem files, so gem file locks. So it should be less likely to happen. Yeah? Okay, we've got our first volunteer. So we've, for our code owners situation that we spoke about last time. So we've got someone who's stepped forward now from the community to actually take over one of the formulas. So just encouraging again, if you do see someone in the, so for example, let me just show you, it's probably easier. I saw that there was about 3 or 4 PRs that came through on the postfix formula. I could do this better. I should have had this set up in a link. Who was it here? So I think it's Felipe. He sent through loads and loads of PRs for the postfix formula, and I've seen him around in other repos as well. And he's, you know, someone who I've seen he does some decent work. So I just asked him straight if he wouldn't mind just actually, you know, taking care of that repo, and he did that. So again, if we see some contributors who are really interested in a certain formula, if you want to encourage them to you know, so I just gave him a little explanation and said, you know, if you wouldn't mind maintaining it, and we would help him with the other bits, the semantic release bits and whatever. And he was willing to do it, and he's taken it over, and he's already pushed through some changes. So it's good to see that, and I think we really do need that, because even just reviewing PRs is taking such a long time. If we can get people to come and step forward, that'd be good. And all that means is I just have to add them to the actual repo as one of the maintainers, or one of the people with right access to the repo, and they can then go ahead and do what we normally do for the rest of our repos. So just encouraging, if we can keep doing that, if you see a certain formula where someone's very interested in helping out. Yep. So anything else here? This is using the new images. So just so you're aware, we have got Ubuntu 20.04 and Fedora 32 images now, and Eric's helped out as well. And we've got some of these out there to some of our formulas. In fact, about 20 or 30 of our formulas now have the latest images. But if you are converting any, then there are these two new platforms. In fact, there's OpenSUSE 15.2 as well. And the rest of this, I think, is just normal sort of stuff, which we won't talk about. We'll get onto this week's stuff. Oh yeah, there was one more thing. We've got the matrix bridge running now for SaltStack formulas. So the formulas channel in Slack is now bridged to matrix, and it's bridged to IRC and to Gitter. And we're just going to see how that pans out, how well that's going to work. But what I was asking in the formulas chat the other day, I was asking, where can we put these 4 addresses, like these 4 links to Slack, Matrix, IRC, and Gitter? Where can we put them in a central place? Should it be in the template formula? Where should we highlight how to get involved?
That sounds good to me, just in the template formula.
Yeah, because we were looking at the front page here, but there's nowhere I can see in the settings where you could actually list sort of 4 links anywhere here. So the template formula, the README there seems the only place. Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, where would we
Looks
put
fine.
it? Where do you think?
That sounds like a good place to me.
Just anywhere here?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
and we can do
contributing.
contributing?
Yeah, this part, no? Maybe? Ah, no, in support or support section or something.
All right, maybe we need it near the top somewhere, so that, because I guess we have a link here to the writing formula section. So I suppose we could have it under general notes here. Yeah? So I'm going to say something. Okay, we'll put it in there. We'll put the section there, but what we'll do, as David has given us that bit where we can strip out content. Where is it? This remove me section. We'll add it as a remove me so that when people clone the formula, they won't actually clone that bit into their readmes. Yeah? We'll do that. And the weekly tests have been run with the newest platforms, and everything's going quite well. We've got about 83 formulas now being run every week. I'll show you what I've done here for the notifications for these. I can't see my tabs. Right. So that the notifications can be visible sort of more centrally rather than in my own repo, in my own Travis forks. I've put together this, or I'm using something called Zulip, which allows you to have something similar to Slack, where you've got your streams, which is like your channels, but within each stream, you can select a certain topic. So if I go down here, you can then see the week 22 master builds, and you can have a quick look through there to see what's passing and failing. So obviously the down hand is the ones that were failing, and I looked into and got them passing in the end. And then the week 23 was the last week ones. So it just brings a central location, and then you can just go through to the actual Travis run that was done for the master branch and see what was going on. It just brings it centrally. You can join into this easily if you need to. I mean, you just need a GitHub integrated login, probably even GitLab. The address is there. And I normally put this address in the SaltStack. It's in the testing channel in Slack as well. So anyone can have a look at this to see what's going on. It's quite a useful little chat thing, definitely. Right, so on to this week. So let's close that for a minute. So we've done the first one, which is, let's close these second, and let's open these. Right, GitHub sponsors will do soon. Daniel, I think we can finish off this work you've been doing. Should we have a quick look at this? Daniel, are you around?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Don't worry about that for a minute. So is there any final opinions on this? 'Cause I think this is good work what Daniel's put together, and I think it's really worth considering to merge this. So we are okay with this new idea of just, let me just show the two files. So what we're looking at, Daniel, do you want to take over? Anything more to say about this? Daniel?
Not really. I saw that the little arrangement you did with the black style.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the black style.
Yeah.
I find it okay.
What I like about the black style, so obviously you can't use black with ginger, but you can use something like the playground. And what I did here is I kind of turned it into Python and let it just format it, and then brought that back in as an idea, because it just makes it a bit easier to work with the file, I think. It's harder to do, it takes more time, but what it does is you can now see it all in, you know, because it obviously formats it to 88 characters maximum. You can read it all like that. So either way, I'm fine with what you've done, to be honest. Any particularly strong opinions on this about how Ginger should be formatted? Or should we just go with what is already there in the PR? Daniel, what do you think? Do you want to do the black style, or are you just happy with what you've done already?
I like the black style.
Oh, you like that, yeah? So shall I
Yeah.
give you some time to do the other file as well then? Because I think I did one of them. Oh, the one thing to be careful with the black style is the trailing commas. I'm not sure how well that works in Ginger. So for example, where's the comma I'm looking at? Where's the example? Like here. I think this works. Having this last comma here, I think is okay, but I don't know for sure. Just need to confirm whether that last comma there is going to work in Ginger. Anyone know
Okay,
that?
I will test that, because I didn't test the black style formatted map Ginger. I just look at it and I find it pretty, but I will try it.
Definitely, that would be helpful. I have mucked around with trailing commas before when I've been doing some of my own formulas. I think it works, but there was times where I got some strange results. So just watch out for that last comma there. But otherwise,
Okay.
I think it's fine otherwise. Okay, so I'll leave you some time to do that. That would be great to see that updated. And the documentation, Daniel, was there any more movement on the Nginx formula documentation?
No, absolutely not. I didn't work on SolStack formula for the last weeks.
Okay, no problem. So we can have that there for the next 2 weeks. David, any progress on the test kitchen for Windows?
Yeah, I've just created a PR on OpenVPN formula.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, literally in the last half an hour.
Okay, let's have a quick look. And how's it going? Is it going well?
Yeah, it's fine. It's working, but I've got a YAML lint error, which I'm not, well, maybe we can have a look at it. It's it's in Travis.
Right. Yes. Where are we? Okay, that's fairly straightforward. Can I jump to it straight here?
So it's saying it wants a true or false value for that on line.
Yeah, what I've done in one of the other workflows, if I can just open that up. Let me see how I resolve this. So where's the commit.lit one? There. It just wants this.
Oh, right.
That's all it wants.
Okay. Oh.
And because obviously on is, even though it's on this side, I mean, you'd wonder.
Right, I see. Yeah, it thinks it's a true or false value. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why it'd be. Is that with the keys as well? I was a bit surprised about that. The values I understand, but are the keys converted to true, false as well in YAML?
I have no idea.
Well, that's all it is there. It's just that there. Just to fix that. But otherwise, how's this going?
Well, it's fine. Yeah,
Let's have a look.
It works. It passes, and other than because the testing was working before, but it's just it was in Vagrant, and so I've just pushed it up onto the GitHub action, and yeah, it's fine.
So is it running with full debug logging here?
I believe so.
Yeah, you can see that. Excellent. So this is actually Windows testing now for this
Yeah.
formula.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, we could.
And I had to fix a bug as well to get it working. So that
in OpenVB in the actual formula.
in the formula, yeah. In one of the
Fantastic.
script.
This is brilliant. I'm really impressed because this is something that was really plaguing us, like where we had vagrant testing and we couldn't run it anywhere other than locally. And you're not going to do that. You're going to have time for that. That's fantastic. So we could actually start rolling this out across multiple formulas.
Yeah, I mean, I will say vagrant still has the place because when you're developing the tests, you're not going to want to push them to the CI. So vagrant is still going to have a place for local development.
Sure. And so in that case, when these PRs come through, they should also have not just the GitHub action, but you should have the kitchen vagrant, the local, kitchen local.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that someone can do the local testing as well as obviously the GitHub action. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Excellent. So once we get around to reviewing this and maybe merging this in, what's the other formulas off the top of your head that need to be looked at?
Salt, I would say. Salt formula.
Yeah, salt formula, definitely. Any other formulas that need Windows testing desperately?
Well, as far as I know, I'm the only person who's really done anything on Windows. So I've got plenty of my own formulas to move. Well, not plenty of my own formulas, plenty of things that I want to move to formulas with the Windows testing. So yeah, more will come.
Okay, I'm going to put that in there. But definitely the salt formula. There was one other. I can't remember off the top of my head. There was another one with Windows testing. We'll figure it. I think it's OpenSSH as well, wasn't it?
Well, I haven't come across it myself, but
I know.
No, well, no, I don't think so.
No? Just 1 second. I'm pretty sure it was. Because I think there's, I recall messing around with Vagrant for one of those formulas as well. Here it is.
Was that for BSD maybe?
Here you go. OpenSSH formula as well. Oh no, yeah, BSD, you're right. My fault. So I remember the actual file. I didn't remember that it wasn't Windows.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe we could find GitHub Actions does work on a Mac. I think they have a Mac platform.
All right. Noel would be really interested in that because he's got lots and lots of formulas for Mac. That would be great if we get that testing running. Is it a similar thing then? Similar setup?
I haven't looked at it, to be honest, but I do know that they use like a provider for that. So it's not their hardware.
Okay. Well, at least we know there's something there.
But I expect the action files to be similar, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. But in the meantime, we've definitely got this one we can review and look at salt formula because there's a PR that's been blocked on the salt formula for about 9 months because of Windows testing. So that would be really good to see that. Fantastic. It's really good to see. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Excellent. So we've spoken about that already. Where was we up to? And the CV. No, we're not going to do that right now. We spoke about that last week. Spoke about that last week as well. The code owners. Any more to discuss about this? We've already spoke about this last week, really. Nothing else really there. And Stacker. Conduct an issue. And we've... Eric, was there some more? Because I know you started speaking to Nicholas about this. Was there anything more on the Stacker that we've got?
Yeah, nothing more. I talked about it with him in real life, and that's why I asked for some benchmark. He said in his setup is not that efficient compared to Pillar Stack. I hadn't time to test on my own setup, so for now, no news.
Okay, no news. Okay, we'll leave that there, and then we can come back to that. And then that's most of this current batch of stuff. Now there is the SSF formula. I could go through that. Do you guys want to have a look at that? Or any other things we spoke about first? Should we, any other areas first we want to discuss?
I'd be happy to have a look at SSF formula.
Okay, I'll do that as the last thing. I mean, I'd rather cover any other main points first, because that might take a while to go through the SSF. So if there's any other points or discussion areas. No,
nothing.
Nothing. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 minute. I just need to just set up some stuff so I can set up the SSF formula. Just give me a minute. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
So, and I'm going to be doing this blind actually. What I mean by that is I would have preferred to do a formula that I've already done. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to be brave and just go straight for it with another new formula and see what happens. And you can see all my troubles that I might go through as I do this. So I'm just opening it up. Well, you guys want to see me mess things up, yeah? Just give me 1 second. Just get this up and running. And what else do I need to do here? Actually, I really didn't want to do it like this. I was thinking to myself, I'll get a formula that I've already tested locally, and then I'll do it. But what happens, I ended up clearing most of the formulas that I was working through. So we've only got like one left that I can show you. So I haven't looked at this formula at all. And Noel did mention there were some issues with it. So this is going to be interesting. This will be, then again, I've done this about 80 times. I mean, it's not like it's going to be anything new. So just give me a second, almost there. Where am I up to? Right, I think I'm done. Okay. Actually, just before we start that one there, where do we get up to with the HA proxy formula, Eric? Because I know that
there are bugs in the formula.
Okay, the formula itself, yeah?
The conversion is not a problem, is services don't start on CentOS and other platforms. I just need to take some time to fix it.
Okay, so I'll just leave that with you for the time being, yeah?
If you want to do the SSF work on it, you can go ahead.
I don't have as you can see, I've already got got too many things on my plate as it is. But no, I'll leave it with you. That's fine. Okay, so gonna try and review this formula, and from an SSF perspective mainly, because I'm not going to go through 94 files right now. I trust Noel knows what he's doing with his formula anyway, but I haven't looked at this at all. This is completely fresh. So I did put together a little quick thing to work through, just to explain how I do this. So in terms of the way I go through with the SSF, these are the things I'm using. I've got git extras running so that I can quickly use git fork and git pr. They're very useful, and obviously git k to see what I'm doing. I prefer to use Vim, and I use Vim Fugitive to get my Git work done. And then to work with Travis, using the Travis gem, so that I can, it's only for a couple of commands, just so that I can set up my Travis things from command line rather than going to the UI. So first preparation, get the Tiger board. Where's my Tiger board? Sorry, where's my Tiger board gone? Lost everything now. Right, so we're going to look at the Java formula. So we'll put this in progress and then fork the repo. I've already just done that. And prepare Travis. So going back over here, it's the Java formula. Now this doesn't always work because there's a problem with the Travis. What's going on here? There you go, first problem already.
I'll just run with bundle exec in front, no?
No, no, I already have.
Okay. Ah, yeah, all right. You're right.
What happens with Travis? I think they're trying to push everyone off the org side of things. They don't want people to use travis.org anymore. They want everyone to use com. So sometimes this doesn't work, but I just prefer to keep my own personal forks in the org side, and I then have all the salt stack formula stuff on the com side, so I don't get mixed up. So I've just done that. Next thing is get my Vim and Git K open. So if I go over here and let's open up the formula, see what's going on. Now I need to pull in the actual PR. So if I go over here, this is the PR. So I'll get the URL over there and pull that in over here. Right, that's pulled in Noel's PR. So if we refresh this, you can see these are all his commits. And I always start by setting up 2 branches. One to see where it started from, what I got from the contributor, and one for my own uses. Now, the first thing is to add, so I don't try to get everything done in one go. I will start the process and see the diff between what I've got from SSF side and what the actual formula already has. So I'm going to start a new branch in the SSF formula. So where's my SSF formula here? And start a new branch here. Add Java formula. Right, let's check that out. And add formula to pillar.example. So now going into the SSF, the actual formula itself, you may have from previous ones seen, I've got 2 main files, which is defaults.yaml and formulas.yaml. And if I get a chance, I'll explain some of the structure behind it. But right now, let's just try and run this. But this is actually the pillar I need to update first. So what I need to do here is the pillar, it contains a section for formulas. So if I just go up here a little bit, you'll see the actual formula that you're working on. You have that section. This is all in pillar.example anyway, but what I have here is I've got all the formulas there commented out, and I just uncomment them when I need them, move them around as I need them. So here's the Java formula, and I select the files I want to work with. So sometimes I only want to modify one file, but in this case, I want to check all of the files and see what SSF tells me. And on this side over here, these are the settings from the Git side of things. What do I want? What operations do I want to perform? Nothing there at the moment. So I've set up the pillar for what needs to be done. And now I need to add the formula in the actual SSF formula to pillar.example. So this is part of the actual PR itself that will take place. So if I go over here and I will borrow iSCSI. Right, that's pillar example updated. And then the contributing file will be next. So it says, add that to the contributing file. So this will go in here, and I have to update this number here as well. So what happens is the actual contributing file we've got lists all the formulas, the semantic release formulas. So I'll make sure that gets updated as well as part of this process. And then I need to make the changes to defaults.yaml. So there's a commit title and body, which actually gets pushed to the actual PR that I'll make, and the basic formula structure that needs to be put in there. So over here, if I just borrow a previous one, just give me 1 second. Right, so I'm just going to borrow this. No, that's not the one. Just give me a second. Right, that's the one there. So this will be the commit message that will come in from the SSF formula, and the number will be 222. And down here, it depends now on the suites that Noel has put together. So if I just have a look at what he's got in his kitchen.yaml. So I'm just going to open Travis and open kitchen.yaml. So if we look down here, he's actually got a bunch of suites actually. He's got 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's just ZM that a bit. How many suites is that? Wow, he's giving me a big one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is that? You're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 7. Right. So what I like to do is, rather than figure out, type all these things out manually, I try to find one that's already got, a bunch of suites already set up. So it'd be something like this over here. I'll just borrow this structure. So what this is doing is we define the suites and their names in defaults.yaml. So I'm just going to borrow this and go up here somewhere. Where is it? So this is the Java formula, and what he's got, he doesn't have a default suite, because normally most formulas have a default. If there's a default, that will normally be that will be suite 0. But since there's not one, I need to adjust for that. So he's giving me some work to do here. Give me 1 minute. I need to find, right, so it's one over here. I need to borrow that. Yeah, go on. Yeah, please feel free to say something.
Sorry, I was mumbling to myself.
Okay. So just need to get the suite names here. So adopt Amazon. Adopt Amazon. Now I don't want to get that wrong. Yep. Don't want to get that wrong either. So what have I done there? Right. An Oracle in Zulu. He's giving me a big one here. I wanted an easy one. I had some really easy ones set up last time. Right, so that's the 7 suites in the basic structure of the formula that I'm going to need. And which one did I just copy? That as packages, wasn't it? So I'll just use the same thing over here. So this is now, if we go back to our thing, so I've put the commit title and body. I've done the basic formula structure. Then I need to add the structure to formulas.yaml, the actual specifics. So let's copy the packages formula as a structure, because.
So I kind of asked this before, or alluded to it before.
Yeah.
What's the distinction between defaults and formulas.yaml? Is there something concrete?
Yeah, there's something concrete. What happened? Okay, the history of this formula is I obviously we'd already done some semantic release by then. We had about 30 different formulas. And in that time of doing that process, I saw the sort of commonalities in each stage of doing that. And so I put this formula together as quickly as possible with minimal duplication. And as much as it might seem like, well, why can't you just put these names over on this side? I wouldn't be able to explain to you off the top of my head right now, but when you actually pull this out into its, you look at what is actually produced by the map, and we're talking about 12 or 13,000 lines at least. There's tons of duplication. I can actually show you what I mean in a minute. Just give me 1 minute and I'll show you what I mean in terms of how much is produced. And what I looked for when I was first putting the formula together was what's the way I can get minimal duplication throughout the whole process. So everything is stripped down to minimal duplication. So that's how they've ended up on one of the sides they've ended up. Just
Right,
give me a minute.
okay.
Just give me a minute. I don't want to muck this up. So that's now a very rough structure, which I now need to adjust accordingly to, I've just borrowed it from the packages formula and I need to adjust that to the left-hand side. So what I mean by that is I found what was needed in defaults, which was like a basic structure, and then the specifics here, so that it produced this like, massive map. Let me just show you. It'll be easier. Oh, actually, no, I made a mistake there. Let me save that. Right. Let me stash that. I don't think I've got much time. Actually, you know what? I won't show you now because we haven't got enough time for that. It'll take too long. But I'll definitely show you next time what I mean. Yeah, because I've only got a very short amount of time. Let me at least show you one run of this SSF formula to show what happens. So let's just quickly finish this last part off. Yeah, go on.
Imran, I'll say, I mean, many people have left anyway, so...
Have they?
Okay. Not everybody. Some people have left, and what I'm saying is, if we can ask, do people want to see this now? The people that are viewing, and
Okay,
go over
me,
10, 15 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
I'll just carry on for this 5 minutes, and I can probably do the first run in that time at least. Yeah?
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So don't worry about my little hacking here. This is just my way of right. So what I need to do here is I'm just going to get rid of these for a minute because I don't know if they, like I said, I'd like to have a very plain structure first. Now the problem is by copy pasting here, I've actually now got quite a messed up structure. So what I want to do is the plainest structure possible. Let's see what Noel's got over here in terms of, has he got separates? So he's got a provisioner, he's got state top, which is, and pillars, which are quite basic. And the verifier, he's using the same, he's using a specific verifier for each one. So that's fine. That's good news, actually. I'd like to see that. It makes it easier. So what I need here is I can get rid of these verifier lines. So I'm just, it'll be more like the bottom one there, and I've got 6 suites. So, right, so going back to the top, let's just follow it through one by one. So, so using the adopt one over here, what we've got is he's got state top with just Java and pillar with just Java, which is actually so the default from SSF formula is it's always going to give you the name of the formula as the state top, and not the name of the formula, but or effectively the name of the formula is the state top and the pillar. So when that's there, that's already the default setting, so I can remove them from SSF. But this I will need pillars from files. So I can get rid of this, and I will need this though, because the default one for pillars from files is pillar.example. So if I get that, it's going to need that. And the verifier is by default. So actually, hopefully a lot of them will just be this much. That's all I'll need is specifically the provisioner. So let's open up Amazon. And again, it's the same. It's nothing except for this is, that's the only bit that needs to be done. Oops, not too much. So I've got a feeling, and I hope that I can actually just use this for all of them. Right. Just pillars from files, hopefully, for all of them. So Amazon, and I'm expecting that'll be, and you know, the beauty is I don't have to sit there and actually check every last thing. I'll just let the, I'll let it take place, and anything I've got wrong, I can always fix. Right, that's that. I will need this though, unless he hasn't got that. Let's have a look at what he's got in his Travis. See, at the moment he's got, oh, he has got one for each one. Adopt, Amazon. He hasn't got Oracle. So I just need to put all these in here. Adopt, Amazon, Graal VM, HiQ VM. Right, we're going to use, in terms of platforms, the basic structure of which platforms are used in the Travis matrix over here. We want to use the newest ones. And the matrix itself, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it blank for the first run, because I want it to suggest me the defaults, and we'll worry about the bits after that. Semrel files, default. So that's the specifics more or less done. It's not perfect yet, but that's fine, because the first run will tell me what I need to do. So run an SSF, prepare the pillar, which I actually already did earlier, which was just simply enable the name of the formula and all of the files. Make sure you're not going to push anything by mistake, and then run the formula. So let me run it, and let's see what comes out. And if it all goes badly, I can end the meeting. Got 1 minute left. Well, it shouldn't take too long to run. Normally it's quite quick actually. Right, it's done already. So now let's have a look in GitK to see what's come out, and we can look at the diff. Is this big enough? Is the font, are the fonts big enough? Fonts okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, so what's happened here, it's gone through all the files, and so there's stuff here in rubycop.yaml that I'm going to reset back to what it should be, because usually what I find is you can actually adjust the formula rather than adjusting our defaults there. So Travis.yaml, one thing I really needed to do, I know, is because we've got multiple suites here, I needed to use some ignores, because otherwise what it's doing a kitchen list. You can see how many it's added just there. I'll be able to fix that shortly, but it's just gone bananas and given us, if I go into the Travis.yaml, you see what it's doing is by default, the same Cartesian product that kitchen list.b, you know, kitchen list does, where it looks at each suite and each platform and it merges them all together and makes a massive, look at that. How big is that? It must be good 150 lines, no more. And that's why it's important to have, David, remember you was asking me last week why I needed that? That is 217 lines. Do you remember we said, why do you need the ignores section?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I was saying why do you need it, but I was.
Okay. Okay, what I'll do here, I'm going to use this now in this formula to just reduce that completely. So what we'll do, we'll just take let's take Debian 10, for example. And let's say his main, let's assume it's adopt. So what's going to happen now, I'm just going to quickly rerun it and reduce that Travis.yaml immediately, because it's just way too much. So let's rerun that in the background. And while I'm waiting for that, I'll just keep looking through this diff for a second. So that Travis.yaml is going to get reduced. It's added the notification section, and I will need to balance out the matrix itself. Okay. YAML lint, he's got some extra files here that he says need to be added. So I'll put those in. Again, there's a maximum here he's changed that I'll need to change. Gem file lock is automatic, so that doesn't matter. TOFS pattern, right? So it looks like he's using TOFS in his formula. So I normally check that by just checking for use of file switch. So he's using the file switch macro, means he's using TOFS. So I need to add that as well. So if I go use TOFS, I need this line in here, over here. So that will not make sure it doesn't delete, it'll make sure it won't delete the TOFS pattern.file and the libtofs.ginger, which are currently being removed. Kitchen.yaml, normally what the formula does is better because it brings the new platforms in. But what I do need to check for are the specifics underneath. So all it's doing is getting rid of these commented out lines, and that's fine. I want to get rid of those. So those are fine anyway. Here I've done something wrong. So, or not I've done something wrong, but rather he's using a different name here. So he's got HQVM, sorry, he's got pillar. What's going on there? Must be from my copy pasting. So what I need here is I need to fix these. And that should fix that bit there. So I'm just looking through this, making sure that they're corresponding with each other, and otherwise that should be fine. And yep, and then in terms of these readmes for inspec, it's updating it correctly because it's been left as default when it should actually be the name of the actual suite. So that's fixing the name of the suite there. Likewise, it's fixing it in the inspec.yaml as well. It's making sure we're not using the default name when it should actually be the name of the suite. So that's all of these, and that's pretty much it. You can see everything else is pretty much the way it should be. So if I rerun the formula one more time there to get the last bit in, there will be something that still needs to be fixed. Let's just run that again quickly and see where we are now. So if we go back to the diff now, so now, like I said, I'll fix these Rubicop things shortly. Travis.yaml will need to specifically make sure we've got the right platform set up because that's not been done yet, but that's probably one of the last things that needs to be done. I will need to check that as well. Gem file lock I'm happy with. Kitchen.yaml now should be fine. If we go down here, it's only getting rid of these commented out lines, which is absolutely perfect. Yep. So kitchen.yaml I'm happy with. All of this at the bottom here I'm happy with. Kitchen's good. Gem file lock is good. It's these three files that need to be looked at. So in terms of Travis, I need to look at his matrix now, just compare it. So let's check out his branch again, and let's get the adjustments I need into platform's matrix. So what's he got? Is that fine so far? Have I still got a few minutes? Or should we wrap up?
It's okay. I need to leave. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll just
Thank you.
finish this. Okay, no problem. Take care.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you. See ya.
All right. Thanks. So that's adopt Amazon VM HKVM. That will be Oracle, but it's not running at the moment. Will be Zulu. Right, and Oracle is not actually activated at the moment, so let's just comment that out there as well. That should take care of Travis.yaml now. Let's rerun that. And the other changes were, so Travis.yaml we're about to fix, hopefully. And it's just the YAML lint and the Rubicop.yaml. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it with the settings that SSF is suggesting and see what the problems are. And what needs to actually be done, if there is anything that needs to be done. So let's see now whether that's come through. So let's just make sure travis.yaml is close to what it should be. Okay, yep. So the main lines are being left in place, and the rest are just removing all the excess entries that aren't actually being used. Like a lot of these, I mean, there's no default suite in the first place, so they shouldn't even be there. But essentially now our travis.yaml is, I could always add the commented ones afterwards, but the travis.yaml now essentially is what it needs to be, which is the same as what Noel already given us. So that's that part. Now we just need to run the linters and see what's going on over here. So if I run, this runs all the various checks to see what's going on and why those need to be adjusted in the first place. Right. So starting from up here, so the salt lint is fine, and there are syntax issues, which means there's ginger in these files, so they do need to be ignored. Could fix the line length, but since we're ignoring the files anyway, I'm not going to do that. But defaults.yaml can be fixed. The lines are too long, even if they're done manually, as in by disabling the lines. I mean, ideally, there are ways in YAML to avoid these problems by doing it the way YAML wants it, but obviously I'm not going to spend the time doing that right now. Yeah, I mean, with these you normally can't, so you'll just have a YAML lint disable line, and the rule is line length, right? And I'll want to do that on each one. So he's got 2 here.
I mean, I think you can split something on a line like that, and you can. There's one of the splitting things where it combines it without white space.
All right, yeah.
But
I think that's going to be a bit tricky.
These are these are minor.
I'll normally do that for anything that doesn't involve something like a hash or a URL, because it just becomes too confusing otherwise. Definitely can do it, but these ones I don't bother. So I'm just making sure this is done so we can keep our, and that should be it, I think. Yep. So that's this file fixed and doesn't need to be added to YAML lint now. Which other file was it? Where am I? Sorry, I'm mixing up my git case. Oh, sorry, it was in my terminal, wasn't it? So one was defaults.yaml, but these two, like I said, they have ginger in them. So I will add those to the YAML lint ignore list. So if I go back over here, so I'm going to need that, and we're going to ignore. We're going to ignore pillar.example. And sorry about this, jumping around a bit. It's not going back to the right one. Right, so that should be the YAML lint resolved. And now there was a Rubicop violation as well down here. So the line is too long. In which file is that? Wrong one. Right. Right, over here, could use a variable. How would you suggest to reduce this line over here? Let's see now. What type of file is that anyway? Oops. Still too long. So we need to. Done it again. I mean, that's one way to resolve it. Just to use a variable there. It means we don't need to mess around with changing the default settings. So I think that's everything. So if I rerun the formula, except it won't, because of the changes I've made, I should have saved those. Oh no, they're okay. Now we should be clear. So we've reset the Rubicop YAML and it should be fine. Travis.yaml, we just need to get the ignores in there. YAML lint is now adding only the ones that need to be there, not the ones that shouldn't be there. And everything else is done. So this is pretty much the first run done. So we've compared the results and make the relevant changes. And then I've done the use TOFs, run all lint checks. Let me just run the lint checks one more time after these last batch of changes. Should be clear now. Yep, so that's clear. So what we've done is the correct. Last couple of, actually what I'll do, I'll push this for 1 second so we can start making sure that what we've done is working in Travis. So what I need to do here is, didn't mean to do that at all. Right, and let's push that. And then we go to build. Just making sure now that what we're suggesting is going to actually work the way it should do. And the final last sort of checks that I made are manual checks at the moment, is on the README and on the formula file. I haven't got those in SSF just yet. So I tend to do that from here. So if I go across, so I want Java and I want the template formula and I want to open those in Meld. And go to the end, check the formulas file now, make sure that it's all as it's supposed to be. So like I said, it's just a manual glance over it. Make sure there's nothing untoward there. That looks fine. And up to the README. Make sure the little bits and pieces are in place that need to be there. So that's all okay over there. Everything's fine. It's just like I said, manual, there's nothing else really that can be done here except there are a few little heading issues there, but they'll still work. No, that looks fine. Everything else looks good. It's just really whether I want to solve the ignores in, the commented out entries in Travis.yaml. So the formula version, normally at this point, so I'm going to leave it at this point here because we're almost done, but I just normally check for the formula version to use and set that up in GitHub, the first run of that. So whatever version we're going to use, so apply that number, push the PR to SSF formula, push the changes to the actual main PR itself, and pick up from there. But really, this is it now, just watching at how that runs over there. Is there any other parts of that I can quickly, because we're done for time, but is there any particular parts you just want me to quickly revisit?
I think I would probably need to view it again
Yeah.
and then maybe have some comments or whatever.
Yeah.
I know you have covered it all, but at the same time, it's clear you know exactly what you're doing within the
course.
formula. If you see what I mean, yeah.
Of course. What it
And,
was actually that was quite a tough example there, because the ones I was doing before were all very, very, very similar, and they would have been very quick, and we could have just concentrated on the SSF formula more. But what I've had to do there is a lot of modifications. That was actually one of the most modifications I've had to do in a long time. So it probably looked a lot worse than it actually usually is. But just to say, you said defaults and defaults. What it is, I've got, like I've done in GitLab now, I've got the node anchors at the top of each file, which is just, again, to minimize duplication, is they're used lower down. So anything I can put into node anchors are just at the top of the files. Obviously, these aren't used by the formula itself, but they just bring in bits that are down below, if you like.
Common,
so, yeah. So the common bits. So I've got that in both of the files there, and otherwise it's just the specifics of the formulas in formulas.yaml and the general structures in defaults.yaml. It's not perfect. It was just meant to be a quick solution to get us through that particular period of time. And I'm sure if there was ever another iteration of it, it would be, it'd be able to be done a lot easier by looking at what we've learned from using the SSF formula. But that's it. Look, it's passing. It's all going through as it's supposed to. And as long as that all passes, I'll then push those changes through to the PR, and get that merged in.
Yeah, great.
No problem. I mean, another time there's a different way you use it when you've got a new formula. Like, let's say we want to make a new semantic release formula. Then, I mean, it's similar, but you'd go about the process slightly differently. But otherwise, it's generally the same thing. Add them the way I've just added them, and run the actual formula, and just look for the differences to see what the formula suggests, what SSF is suggesting, and see what the actual formula is already doing, and find that common ground in the middle. Yeah. Fine. All right. Brilliant. I think we're done, aren't we? Any other comments, or should we just now carry on for the next meeting?
That's good for me.
Brilliant. All right, guys, it was great talking to you, and hopefully we can move on with some of these things. I've lost my Zoom completely. I don't know where it is. Yep. Okay. We'll catch up next time.
Okay. Cheers then.
All right. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.
See you.